Oh, it doesn't matter. It just shows how many enemies we've got, so we always need your prayers. We're talking to police and military about the dark side, the way that they are openly training not to fight Taliban or al-Qaeda that are government-created, but the American people. The police and military are being trained. They're even training maintenance groups in the Army for riot control. And this is all admitted now. So you need to understand that. We're taking your calls. It's 800-259-9231. Police and military contractors, you name it. We're going to go to Greg, a DOD contractor in Kentucky, then Chris, who's in Arizona with the Marines. Greg, you're on the air. Thanks for calling.
Yeah, hey, Alex. How you doing?
I'm doing all right.
Yeah, I just wanted to call in because what your guest was talking about earlier about this Iranian war turning into an all-out nuclear war. Well, I was in the Air Force in 2007, and we had an exercise called the 8063, where they were preparing us for worldwide nuclear devastation, where I worked on an aerial refueler, and they'd have us get them what they called locked and cocked, to where the aircraft was good with maintenance all over, and then it was sealed up and guarded by our SPs. Now, about 2 weeks after one of our exercises, and I don't know if you could help me out with this, they had something similar to where they had us go out and lock everything down. They didn't have the SPs guarding it, and then all of a sudden they got the call, and all the pilots came out and had those refuelers up in the air within like 15 minutes, and they were all loaded with 350,000 pounds of fuel. Now, when we talked to the pilots when they came back down, they said that they was refueling a flight of B-1 bombers, and that they headed out west from California, and then who knows where.
Well, you know they launched the attack on 888 in 2008 against Russia, trying to start a nuclear war. The Russians moved in mobile medium range and ICBM long-range launchers, and the head of the Russian military said we're preparing for nuclear war. And so the NATO troops that were landing in airfields then pulled out. So these are psychopaths that run our government. They are the bad guys. And the Russians are the bad guys, and the Iranians are the bad guys. Government's bad. What did Jesus say? Wickedness in high places. But the point is, the big mega empire is this big corporate structure, and they need to get their world government established, and nuclear war is the way to get it. We should all be praying right now and calling Congress and everybody and saying, don't take us to war with Iran. I appreciate your call, Greg. Chris in Arizona with the Marines. Go ahead, Chris.
Hello, Alex?
Yes, sir.
I want to say good morning, and I love you. You know, you're doing a great job. I have a few quick points, I guess. I was the one who called in a couple months ago. You know, I was coming into work, and some federal agent was behind me, looked at the bumper sticker on my truck, and, you know, he called my work shop, and, you know, I got talking to about that, but thank God nothing ever happened to me. There's no follow-up.
Well, you've got these millions of secret police spies, not just the government ones, and they're all trained to look for American flags, Gadsden flags, and spy on people, and they just can't wait to start actually going after us. They just hate us.
Yeah, I looked at the MIAC report. It's all in there. I work for contract security on a military base here in Arizona, and my wife just told me about well, I'm a guard, and we have police counterparts that we work with. And she was telling me about there's this one, every time he'd pull somebody over, he'd be barking at him, you know, like a drill instructor. And they finally got, you know, a few people got fed up, and they basically went to his superiors, and he got reprimanded. So hopefully,
well, this is part of our training that they put all these control freak greenhorns in power to let the American people get used to being lined up, to being searched, to being controlled, to being bossed around, to being face scanned, thumbprinted. But then the illegal aliens, they're untouchable. 95% of L.A. County murder warrants that they can't seem to deliver are for illegal aliens. So it just shows how lawless this government is.
Yes, exactly. I guess people would wake up if they started illegally pulling over iPads. You know, questioning iPads.
Hey, Chris, I appreciate your call. You know, we had a caller yesterday, and I had to cut him off because, and several others on hold, because we had Chuck Baldwin coming on the last 30 minutes. And he was a trainer, he said, at a fusion center and was training, the military when they were coming back to become police officers. And he said it's exactly what I've been breaking down, though everything I break down is in the news. We just put the pieces together. I'd like him, I forget his name, to be able to call back in. We've got a couple lines open because we're only taking calls from police and military. Or we had police officers call in and talk about how they're taught everybody's going to kill you, the American people are your enemy. It's a bunch of brainwashing. I mean, if cops want to be scared of something, be scared of being run over while you're writing tickets. That's the number one way you get killed. 1-800-259-9231, 800-259-9231. Let's talk to Eric in Missouri. Eric, you're on the air.
Hey, Alex. I just wanted to call in today real quick because I'm down in Missouri at Whiteman Air Force Base, and my brother's a cop in Arizona, and he said they were getting ready to do their preparations to begin the enforcement of the new law at to
actually be able to do something productive that's under the Constitution. But no, the federal judge says no.
Right. The judge just blocked it today.
Well, you've heard me ranting and raving about how they're training our police in Iraq to shut down cities and confiscate guns, and then I pulled up what the caller said and confirmed it was in the mainstream news. What's your take on that?
Oh, man, I just don't know what to think anymore. Alex, we have stuff coming at us from every angle. We don't, and I think it's all on purpose to confuse everybody, and nobody's going to know who to trust each other. And myself and everybody around me, we talk about it on the down low, and we just don't know what to think, Alex. That's why we look to you for some leadership, and we got to make sure who we can trust, and that's why we're glad that you come out and you talk about, why we can trust you and how you're not, part of the establishment, and we just want you to keep doing more of that and have more patriots calling in.
Well, Eric, let me say this. There's nothing wrong with you teaching the Bill of Rights and Constitution to your cohorts, and though they try to demonize it, it's what this country's founded on, and it's not bad. And it's not a conspiracy theory to stand up for liberty and freedom. And so just have discussions about what's happening. I mean, when you talk to other members of the military, are they starting to wake up?
Yeah, I'm a bit of a tinfoil hat myself, and all these 9/11 videos, I feel like a bunch of them are disinformation, and, a lot of them don't show the actual crashes. And actually, I've been wanting to ask you for a long time, and now I have the opportunity. I was wanting to know what your opinion was about the media fakery angle on it and the Simon Shack video series, because that, to me, is the most interesting, because I know that every time we hear people in the media bring up 9/11, they're the ones that scream the loudest, and to me, they have the most to lose.
Well, Eric, I appreciate your call, but I have friends, people I've known for many years, who were there and saw the second aircraft. And you talk about disinformation, I think that's been put out and promoted by the media as a way to, we're saying we don't know what happened with 9/11, but we know the official story has been proven to be a lie. I mean, they blew up Building 7 in front of us and said they were going to blow it up all over the news. And we have police saying, get back, they're blowing it up. And then we interviewed the deputy head of emergency management for New York, and he was dead a few weeks later. And he said, yeah, no, there was explosions going off before the towers even fell down. They were going to blow up 7. I mean, all of that is on record. And so I just stick to what I can prove. And I appreciate your call, though. Now, look, we've got open phones right now. We've got open lines right now, wide open, for police and military and others. And I'm asking police and military, are you part of this urban warfare training that's admitted? What do you think of the gun confiscation in New Orleans? When the globalists stage terror attacks or let real terrorists come in and attack us if we go after Iran, do you understand your training and the entire architecture of this is pointed at the American people? I want to hear your views on the dark side of the police and military and now how that's becoming revealed because they're getting ready to try to roll it out against us. It's admitted they've had sound cannons at Tea Party events in San Diego. It's admitted the Army spies on In the Fed protest. I mean, all of this is treason. 1-800-259-9231. Or are police and military so scared of Big Brother that they're even afraid to exercise their free speech? We haven't had any police. We had quite a few yesterday call in on this subject. We've got 17 minutes left. I want to hear from you. 1-800-259-9231. Or the wives of military or police that want to call in and talk about what their husbands or their wives, if your wives are in the military or police, that have been going through this training. It's all out in the open. millions of private spies, not 854,000 like the Washington Post says, 3 million police, 400,000 battle-hardened army they want to use domestically. And all the training is pointed at the people. And the government will pass laws to take your property, take your ranch, take your farm. If you resist, you're going to be called a terrorist. They're going to kill you. We need to have an open discussion about this now and say no to it. There's another just incredible story today by Dr. Paul Craig Roberts, the father of Reaganomics, former head of the Treasury under Reagan, up on Infowars.com and prisonplanet.com. And it's the year America dissolved. It was 2017. Clans were governing America. The first clans organized around local police forces. The conservatives' war on crime during the late 20th century and the Bush-Obama war on terror during the first decade of the 21st century had resulted in the police becoming militarized and unaccountable. As society broke down, the police became warlords. The state police broke apart, and the office